everybody. I'm Sandy Sandler in the background, and also in the background is Alex, Nick's sister and CEO of Nick's Seasonal Decor. And then we have Nick, who is going to demonstrate his amazing skills with us tonight. So, Nick, I'm going to let you get started.
Thank you, Sandy. Yes, so we have a lot of bows to create tonight. I hope everybody is staying cool. I think the vast majority of the world is going to have a really hot week. Hopefully, we can cool down with some pretty bows, but we're going to be using both our large Bowdabra as well as our mini Bowdabra and our Bowdabra wire. So this wire comes in both silver and gold, and all of the supplies I'm using tonight you can find available at nicksseasonaldecor.com. So let's just pull up the video, make sure all is good. Hey, Kathy, Teresa is here right off the bat. And as always, if you're catching the replay, the best way to let us know that you're watching is letting us know that you're watching, right? So drop a comment down below, and that way we can see all of you guys that come back and watch from the future. So we're going to start with our large Bowdabra. I'm using the gold now. We finished up the silver, I want to say about 2 weeks ago, and I'm still not over it yet, you guys. I love the wire. The silver wire is my favorite because I think we can get, you can use it throughout the year. But I think the gold is really nice too, especially for this time of year as we start thinking about Christmas and fall and Halloween and all of those holidays. I really like the gold. So what we're going to do, and I kind of messed this up last week with the wire because I was impatient and I just cut a piece. So don't do what I did, find the end of it, but we're just going to cut a random length. Make sure that you cut it long enough for whatever you decide to hang it on. So whether it be a wreath, what else? A teardrop swag, a garland, you name it. You want to make sure you have a long enough piece of wire that you can secure it to whatever you're securing it to. So I just took a piece of wire, folded it in half, and we're going to place it on the slit on the top of the Bowdabra. And then what I like to do is I like to tuck those wires right underneath to get them out of the way. I use my Bowdabra a little bit weirdly, I'd say, right? So I like to rotate it instead of, twist my hands with the ribbon. I like to actually twist the Bowdabra itself. So we're going to start with our wreath bow, which we very rarely do. And I think I want to start with it because I'm really excited to see how it turns out. So we're going to be using a polka dot ribbon and one of our exclusive ribbons. And to start, we're going to cut a length. I don't even think we need tails. Let's just do a really pretty funky bow. Mix it up. We usually use tails in our bows or our wreaths. And tonight I'm going to show you that a wreath doesn't really require one. So we're going to take a piece of ribbon, and these can be cut whatever length you decide. For my standard 18-inch oval that we're going to be designing on tonight, I want about 4.5-inch loops. We're just going to pinch about 4.5 inches down, and tails about 6 to 8 inches. So one piece of ribbon, you can have them pre-cut, right? You can cut a bunch of pieces. We're going to take it, pinch about 4 inches down, and just separate our tails. So you can separate them in advance like we're doing here, or you can do it once it's inside the Bowdabra. Really doesn't make a difference, and I guess I can show you guys what I'm talking about. So there we have our loop and our two tails on the opposing side. Yes, let us know where you're watching from. So we are here in Massachusetts, and right now it's probably like 80, 82, 83 degrees. It's really, really hot. So hopefully it's not quite so hot for all of you guys watching.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight.
So here's another piece. So what I mentioned before, what you can do is I just showed you how you can create one loop, fluff it out, and then place it in. Another choice you have is to work your tail in, right? Pinch your ribbon so that the back side is facing forward. Place it into the Bowdabra, and then just come back in with that loop. So whatever method you choose is still going to create the same exact bow. It just depends on how you like to make it, right? So we all make things differently, and I find this method to be the easiest, having them kind of fluffed out already before putting them in. That way we don't have to deal with too much fluffing when all is said and done. So we have our next piece, we fluffed out our tails. Another thing I want to point out is that I'm alternating the sides. So we came in with our first farmhouse stripe on this side, followed by the polka dots. And instead of placing our loop on the same side, I'm just going to reverse it. And the reason I do that is, again, to save time on fluffing. That way we kind of have everything exactly where we want. And in the end, we only have to fluff it a little bit. Brenda says 85 and raining. 85 and rain. Wow. I wish we had some rain, right? I don't think we have any rain in the forecast for the next week or so. So hopefully we can get some. So there is our second loop of each. We're going to do one more set so that we have 3 loops of each, and that'll give us a nice full bow that we can attach to our wreath a little bit later on. So pinch. Again, I like to open up my tails before working it in. And if you wanted to give that another fluff, you can do so as well. So I see already over 60 of you guys watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you enjoy all of these bow tips that I give you, make sure to give this video a heart, as it helps let us know that you like the videos, right? I mean, what's the point of making the videos if you guys aren't learning? So hopefully, and you can let me know down below too, if I've taught you something. See how I almost just made a mix up?
Yep.
So we'll flip that over, open up our tails, and just work them in. All right, so now that this is complete, we can just squish our ribbon down. We can pull our wire to the middle and pull the cut end through the loop. Like that. And now our bow is somewhat secured, but not secured enough for us to attach it to anything. So then I'm going to really tighten it, flip the bow over, and tie from behind. So I like to give it 2 or 3 knots to ensure that it's not going anywhere. 3 is my magic number, so that is what we'll do. And I'm not going to remove the wires because that's how we're going to secure it to our grapevine. But I do want to show you guys how it'll look in its final form. So we've got a dovetail. And if you were new here, this is something that I find to be very important when designing. So take your tail, fold it in half, and cut from the middle out towards the wired edge with a really nice sharp pair of scissors. And it'll create a much better looking tail. I mean, look at that one. So fold in half, cut from the middle out towards the wired edge, and you are good to go. It does take a little bit of time. It is tedious, but it does pay off in the end. Elizabeth loves this ribbon. Thank you, Elizabeth. So we're going for black and white tonight, and we're going to be working with some white sunflowers. I think this wreath could be for every day. Already 80 of you guys watching. Thank you for tuning in. Teresa loves funky bows. Yeah, and don't be shy. Let us know that you're watching. And don't forget, Bowdabra is giving away a free roll of scrunchy ribbon tonight. So to win, all you have to do is just let us know where you're watching from. You can just pop in and say hi. Whatever you comment, you can be entered for a free roll of ribbon. All right, so now we're gonna fluff it out, pull all those tails out. And since it's already kind of pre-fluffed by the time we worked it in, it doesn't really require a whole lot. I mean, isn't that kind of like instant gratification right there? Look at how pretty that is.
I love these two patterns together too.
Me too. I think they're both simple patterns and they really work nicely together. And of course, we're going with that black and white theme. So that is the bow. What do you guys think of that? Hey, Libby. Hey, Debbie. Yeah, show some hearts if you like that. I think that's very pretty. Okay, so there is our first bow using our large Bowdabra with 2 ribbons. So now we're going to create another bow using our large Bowdabra. So we'll take another length of wire, cut it off, take that wire, just fold it in half. Robin just joined from Indiana. Hey, Robin. Jackie's from sunny California. Jackie forgot one key word. You know what that key word is, Alex?
Hot.
Hot. Hot California. So when me and Alex went to California for the first time for me forever, it was really exciting, but it was actually colder there than it was here. But I'm not complaining because we went to the zoo and all of that fun stuff, and I don't think I would have lasted if it was like 90 or 100 degrees.
Yeah, it had a nice breeze that day, thankfully.
Nice breeze. So I worked in a set of tails. However long you want your tails is good to go. Another thing too is you can have one side longer than the other. I really think that's pretty. So we'll have one side drastically longer than the other. And don't be concerned about that at all. Hey, Patty. Patty's from Florida. Julie's here. It looks like we have our nightly crew, right? Our Wreath community family is here. So I'll be seeing all of you guys in about an hour or so. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our ribbon, right? So I'm going to leave about 1/2 inch. See where I kind of folded it? About 1/2 inch of an overhang. This part right here is very, very critical to maintaining the integrity of your bow. You don't want this loop to slip out. If we were to take this and place it right to the end, when it comes time to fluff, no matter how secure we made that wire, we could potentially slide it out. So always leave yourself a little bit of wiggle room. And then I'm going to give my Bowdabra 1 turn, or 1/2 turn, I should say. And we're going to take our ribbon, pinch, and create a loop. So again, 1/2 turn. And I know it can get a little bit crazy with the tails, but we wanted tails in this bow. 1/2 turn, pinch, loop. 1/2 turn, pinch, twist, loop. And just repeat that process over and over again. 1/2 turn, pinch, twist, loop. So the more loops you have, the more full your bow is going to be. But I do want to tell you guys that not every bow has to have 5, 7, 8 loops on either side to create a beautiful effect. For summer, for spring and summer, I prefer less loops. You know, those are warmer seasons. So less loops make it more airy, lightweight, not as heavy and congested. But for fall and winter, I prefer more loops. But with yellow ribbon, I think this works for spring, summer, and fall, right? So you can get away with more loops or you can get away with less loops with this ribbon. So let's do 5 on either side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This side we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's finish it off with one more loop. Cut off our ribbon, place it back in, and again, a little bit of an overhang to prevent it from sliding out. And 103 of you guys are watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. Elizabeth's mother bought her a Bowdabra and she loves it. Awesome, Elizabeth. And don't forget too, you guys, to join the Bowdabra fan gallery as well as the Nick's Seasonal Decor crafting community. Both groups are great resources for added inspiration. You can find all sorts of styles of bows and teachers and designs out there. So if you're looking for an idea or looking to learn something, you can definitely find it in those groups. So one more knot. There we go. I like to snip off my wire, especially since we send Bowdabra these photos. I want to make sure that we're not seeing that wire hang out. But like we did with the first bow, we kept the wire in place because we are going to secure that to a wreath. These bows, I want to make sure you guys see them without the wire. Because in the end, even though I love the silver and gold wire, we don't really want to see too much of it with our bows. Fluff it open. And look at how pretty this traditional bow is. We can also take our tails and dovetail those as well. And having them in different heights or lengths really adds a lot of beauty. What do you think of this one? So Alex, do you know what technique this one is?
Traditional bow?
That's right. It was a trick question, but
I know. I was like, wait a second.
Because traditional bows, you can use any color, right? And it completely changes the look of a bow with this technique. So just mixing up the colors and the widths can do wonders. So there is this bow. I'm learning a tip again, even though I've watched you do this before. I just caught on that I should spin the Bowdabra. I'm still moving the spool of ribbon from side to side. Awesome. I'm so happy that helped. You know, it really does depend on each individual. Some people find it easier to try what I'm doing, and it works best for them. And other people like to rotate their wires and or their ribbons and their hands. So figure out what works.
Turn it worth a darn. I just can't.
See, exactly. So it just depends on each of us and kind of what works best for us. So I like to rotate mine, and if you haven't tried it and you struggle with making bows, give that a shot. Try what I'm doing here, and it could help. So I thought what we would do now is with 4th of July right around the corner, I thought what we can do is make kind of a sparkler bow. So these you guys have been really loving over the last few weeks, and essentially what we're going to do is cut a bunch of random lengths of ribbon. So some can be 5 inches, some can be 7, some can be 4. Really just doesn't make a difference. So there's
and the
3
other
pieces.
thing is you can make this as a hair bow as well. It also would be a spiky hair bow.
Absolutely. And I'm going to model.
Nick says he doesn't make hair bows.
Yes, but these work as hair bows is what Alex told me.
Yeah.
You know, she used to wear hair bows. I think they were pre-bought though, right? I don't think. Oh, maybe somebody made them.
Yeah, sometimes for cheerleading.
For cheerleading. Yes. So one of these days, you guys, if you like and share this video, maybe in the future, we will have me wear a hair bow. No promises though, so don't bet on it. So we're gonna create dovetails on all of these pieces of ribbon. So just fold your tails in half. You can also double up. This is a really sharp pair of scissors, which is why you guys kind of see me working with them a little nervously. So make sure they're really sharp and you can get a nice clean cut, which is exactly what we want. So for those of you that might think the quality of the ribbon makes a huge difference, it does make a difference. But the most important thing is using a really sharp pair of scissors to cut the tails and prevents it from fraying too much. And also too, another tip I can give you is a tip that I give oftentimes for deco mesh, but applies perfectly to ribbons as well. You never really want to work with them too much. I know it can be kind of tough when we're fluffing it to kind of over fluff it, but when you over fluff it, what ends up happening is you start to fray your ribbons or your deco mesh or whatever product you're using by overdoing it. So kind of be careful with the ends, because no matter what ribbon you're going to be using, if you play around with them too much, they can tend to fray. So all I'm doing is I'm just taking those pieces, not even finding the perfect halfway point. It doesn't really make a difference. I'm just taking them, pinching them, and working them in. So I think, Alex, maybe what we'll try on a future Bowdabra episode is to take these sparklers and try to add them to like a wire, like a stem.
Yeah,
and wrap it with floral tape and turn them to picks. right? That would be fun.
That'd be so cute.
And we can do sunflowers next month for fall. So we're going to just tie that from behind. And I see 120 of you guys. Thank you for sharing this video. I greatly appreciate it. Trim off that excess wire and fluff it open. There we go.
I love these. I think they're so cute.
I think they're so cute too. And you guys know me as kind of being a plain designer, not working with too many colors. I think just one single ribbon really turns out pretty with this technique. So what do you think? Melissa hasn't used her Bowdabra for a while, and after watching Nick, I automatically started turning to it. Awesome, Melissa. Makes me happy to hear. Isn't that pretty? So if you have scrap ribbons or leftover spools where you only have like a yard or two, I mean, that took a yard of ribbon, if that. Maybe 20, 30 cents. How do you make a bow with non-wire ribbon in it? So Teresa, I've demonstrated that a few times, and we can definitely start using it more on future episodes. I don't have any lined up for you guys tonight. So there is that cute little bow. You can make it half the size of this or double the size. Oh, sorry. There we go.
You're good.
Okay, let's make another bow. How are we doing on time? We are doing great. I'm going to take a little wire, and I'm going to show you guys one of the easiest bows. So bow ties, I personally prefer my bow ties to be cut separately from the tails. So I'm going to take our tails, snip them separately, so have the tail, and work it in, and then start making our loops. And the reason I like to do that is it just seems to look a little bit better in my opinion. So now that we have our tails in place, what we're going to do now, let's catch up on comments, is take our ribbon, place it upside down, create our loops. So there's one loop. This is about 2.5 inches.
Kathy says would be cute on Christmas trees too, and I agree. They look like little poinsettias.
Yes, Kathy. There's two
Actually,
loops.
Alex, what we do is we use green to make the leaves of the poinsettia, and then red on top of it for the petals.
Yes, that's so pretty.
And can you guys guess where I learned that from? Sandy. And stop doing it. So just wait till Christmas this year, you guys. I'm going to be showing you how to do that a lot. So we have two loops. Look at how they're not perfectly even, about 2.5 inches or so. Now we're going to come back in with 2 more loops.
Christine says she has a Bowdabra and she will start creating after watching tonight.
Thank you, Christine. Yes, make sure to share pictures, you guys. Make sure to tag Nick's Seasonal Decor and Bowdabra so we both can see the bows you create. So 2 more loops. These are about inch and a half loops. And what we're going to do now is our final loop, which is our button loop. And this only has to be about 1/2 inch or so, especially with the 7/8 inch ribbon. Doesn't have to be big by any means.
Michelle says, I need to get a little Bowdabra. And yes, Michelle, you can find them both sizes actually at nickseasonaldecor.com.
Yeah, so the mini Bowdabra is our new Bowdabra that we started carrying just a few months ago. And the first time I ever used it was here on Bowdabra, and my bows turned out great, right? So I've been using the large for so many years that it translates perfectly. So for those of you guys that already have a large and you want to throw in a mini, they're like, I don't know, 11, 12 bucks, not expensive at all. If you know how to make bows on the large, it's the same exact thing, just on a much smaller scale. A much cuter scale, I'd say. It's so cute, the little Bowdabra.
It is.
So
I
we're gonna
have
take
a customer that wrote to me and said that she loves the mini because she can just throw it in her purse to take to like scrapbooking events and stuff.
Ooh, that's very smart.
Yes.
Yeah. Great, like travel Bowdabra. But hey, between me and you guys, I would find a way to take the big one. You know, who cares if somebody's giving you crazy eyes? Because, you know, I mean, you could take both, right? Look how small they are. You can place them like that. It takes up a little space in your bag, not much. So for these tails, I'm going to show you guys something different. We're going to take the tail and just curl it up. So since all of these bows are wired ribbon, you can easily curl them just by rolling the tails over themselves. And then they add a little depth to your design too. So if you're making whatever you're making, wreath, swag, garland, if you're adding these to lanterns, it just adds a little pizzazz. So that is like our little, I mean, we kind of upgraded the traditional bow tie by adding a few extra loops, but it just kind of emphasizes it. And again, using like a yard of ribbon, not much at all. All right, I think it's time to make our wreath now. So we're gonna switch gears, come back to the bow that we initially made. This is the first bow we made tonight. And I'm going to take our grapevine, and this is a 14-inch grapevine actually. No tails on this too. So for those of you that feel kind of upset because your creativity might be at an all-time low, we've all been there. An easy hack is just to switch things up so subtly that it doesn't seem like it'll make a huge difference, but it really does. So for instance, we didn't work in tails in this bow other than the tails within the funky part of it. So typically we add really long tails, and I'm going to show you tonight that it's just not necessary in every design. So an easy way of just changing something up so small but making a huge difference is just working in tails or removing tails.
Nick,
Tip.
Julie asked if you can make the same size bows on the mini that you can make on the large. And the answer to that question is you can make the same types of bows, but they're definitely smaller because the large Bowdabra you can make humongous bows in.
Yeah, so you definitely can make much bigger bows, but here on Bowdabra, I mean, we've used the mini and created some pretty big bows. So I was really pleasantly surprised by that. Of course, if you're kind of a typical wreath maker and make a lot of wreath size bows, then the large is going to be more fitting for you. But I was very, very surprised and kind of shocked, to be honest, with how big of a bow we can create. You know, especially with thinner ribbons, so burlap ribbons or those super thick ones, you might have a difficult time working in a lot of loops, but you know, you still can create a pretty big bow. We could have easily created this maybe with one less loop on our mini Bowdabra. So now we have some of these white sunflowers, and I think this is going to be the perfect everyday wreath. We're going to just take them, dip them in some hot glue, and work them throughout the bow, or around the bow, I should say. Place one here. So if you made it this far into the video, let me know down below. Now I'm going to ask you a question, right? And you still can win from the giveaway for a free roll of scrunchy ribbon. But my question for you is, do you have a Bowdabra or do you not have a Bowdabra? I know that sounds like such a basic question, but I mean, it can tell me a lot, right? So let me know down below if you have one or if you don't have one. So I first got my Bowdabra maybe when I was 12. So what? 12, 13 years ago now. And I used to use it all the time at Christmas time to help save my hands. You know, even though I typically make hand bows, when you're making a bunch of bows, especially during the holidays, it can really do some damage on your hands. And for those of you with arthritis or carpal tunnel or just have a difficult time making hand bows, then the next best thing I would recommend is to not use your hands and use your Bowdabras. They really do save your hands. All right, so we have one flower left. I'm going to take a little bit of greenery that popped off. And we also have another greenery that I think we should work in. But here's our last flower. I'm going to snip this one short. Julie does not have one. She's going to order one today from Nick. Thank you, Julie. And Julie's another awesome Wreath community member. Look,
Yes. Hi, Julie.
look at you guys show up. You guys are the best. It has helped me greatly. Awesome. All right. Yeah, let me know down below. Even those of you watching the replay. That's my question of the night. So I worked in one flower into the bow. And see how that kind of looks? I mean, I think it looks very pretty having them worked in throughout. It kind of looks like the flowers were growing out of it. But now I just have a little greenery that I'm just going to pull off each leaf from. See what I'm doing? Just pulling them right off. And we can work this in too. So let's start working on some of these. And watch how easy and inexpensive this wreath is and how beautiful it turns out. So I know school is out for a lot of people, but I know a lot of people are still in school. I think Massachusetts, a lot of schools actually closed for this week because of how hot it is. But think, you know, you can make this during the summer and back to school presents, right, for teachers. Teachers are incredible. And spending a little bit of time, a little bit of practice with your bow making skills and giving them something like this instead of like a typical mug or candy. Well, I would take the candy, but I think it would make a great gift. Or friends and family. If you like them, you can make them a wreath. And by doing that, you're practicing your bow making skills. And then come Christmas time, everybody's going to know that you make beautiful bows and they're going to want them from you. So I know a lot of businesses started that way. And who knows, a future business for you guys could do that too. So I'm just taking them and tucking them in throughout. And I'm really loving this wreath. So show some hearts if you guys like this so far too. Couple pieces of greenery left. Sharon's going to get it from Nick. Thank you, Sharon. Yeah, so we started carrying the mini Bowdabra. We've had the Bowdabra for a few years now, but we started the mini this year, right? This is our first year carrying the mini Bowdabra. And I think it's as cute as a button. So we have our lucky winner tonight. Our lucky winner is, Alex usually is the one that announces them.
Our lucky winner tonight is, oop, it just disappeared. Rose Alejos, who is watching us on YouTube. Congratulations, Rose. You can send Bowdabra a message or send them an email and let them know which color scrunchie ribbon you would like. The choices are red, silver, and gold. Congratulations.
Yes. Congrats, Rose. And hi to everybody over on YouTube. All right, there is our wreath. And I always like to look at, when you guys see me look down, I'm making sure the wreath looks good. And I think it looks good.
It looks very good.
It's actually a delay. So give me a sec and I'll be able to tell you guys how it looks. Uh-oh, where is it? Oh. Did the video restart or am I going crazy? Oh, here we go.
There we go.
Wreath looks good. There we go.
No, you're good, Nick.
Yes, it is back. For a second, I was like, wait a minute. That was like 10 minutes
Yeah,
ago now. Not even a 2-second delay. That was like 10 minutes. So that's how the wreath turned out. We have a couple ribbons, leftover ribbons. We still can squeeze out several more bows from those rolls. So it only takes about a yard or so. So figure about $1, $2 worth of ribbon, couple bucks for a flower, couple bucks for a grapevine. How beautiful is this for like 10 or so dollars? So very, very easy. And it looks like we have a couple more minutes. So let's make one final bow. Very pretty. Thank you, Marilyn. What do I need to do to get notifications for these Bowdabra lives? So we are live here in Bowdabra the last 2 Mondays of each month, and we will have an update for next month as well. So stay tuned for next week, and we'll be able to have, you know, a better, what's the word I'm looking for?
Schedule for you guys, yeah.
But through the remainder of the year, you can expect
But we
us.
also have every week we do on Bowdabra and YouTube, we do a live. So it's either Nick or me or Joette. So it's always one of us. And I'm Sandy,
Yeah.
in case you guys don't know.
Yes, every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, somebody's live. Somebody's live. So we're going to do, maybe what we'll do is, let's try this. Let's do no tails. We're going to take this scalloped edge ribbon, and I think this is perfect for summer. It reminds me of watermelon. We're going to just take that, flip it upside down, and start making our loops. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be even. That is, you guys hear me say that a gazillion times, and I sound like a broken record. And the reason for that is I know a lot of you guys, what you're thinking. And I know a lot of you guys over-analyze and over-criticize your stuff. And from an outside perspective, your designs are beautiful. All right? We're all our worst critics, and especially with ribbons and bows, too many of you guys are sitting there measuring. If it's a super expensive ribbon and you're measuring for the sake of cost, that's different. But for a couple dollar rolls, experiment with it. Don't get too caught up in measurements, and it'll turn out beautiful. So this bow is going to look completely different from that last traditional bow because we have no tails, and this is a fancier ribbon with a scalloped edge. So just switching out ribbons can do wonders when it comes to creativity too. So if you're ever in kind of a funk, or you don't know what you want to make, or you have a difficult time kind of being innovative, it doesn't require much. Just switch out the ribbons. All right. Let's do one more. Let's do one more, and then we can fluff it out. All right, so at this point in time, by a show of hearts, how many of you guys learned something new tonight? I better see some hearts, right? I hope you guys learned something. So we're going to tie off our final bow. And keep in mind, we've done lots of tutorials over the last, 3-4 years at least now, here on Bowdabra. So you can always refer back to those videos too if you're looking for different techniques or color combos or you name it.
Well, and we also have almost 900 how-to videos on YouTube.
Awesome.
So if you just go to YouTube Bowdabra, there's tons of how-to videos.
Fluff this out. And look at how pretty.
Oh, I love this one.
I think that's really cute. We could just take this to like a watermelon. Bring it to a party, right? Or don't do that. Don't do that. So that is how that bow turned out. Let me give you guys a quick recap. Here is the traditional bow. See how different they look? Same exact bow technique, more loops, less loops, tails, no tails. And it completely changes the look. We also created this little bow, and I think that's kind of a pretty combo too. It reminds me of McDonald's. And then we did a little one using our mini Bowdabra, a little bow tie. You can either dovetail those, curl those, you name it. So there's the mini one using the 7/8. And last but not least, our wreath. So thank you all so much for watching. If you made it this far, comment down below the word. Should we do wreath? Comment down below the word wreath. W-R-E.
ATH.
Comment down below the word wreath, and I'll know that you watched the entire video. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be live here in Bowdabra next Monday at 7. Congratulations once again to Rose, and thank you for watching. Hope you learned something new, and bye for now. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Nick and Alex.